Kody is a failure in not making those marriages work?
I feel like we're all failures, not just Kody. I think that's funny because
it wasn't just any ordinary day in court. It was the explosion that fans had been feeling for years. A simmering storm brewing beneath the smooth, edited veneer of Sister Wives. A veneer TLC took great pains to present to us.
And he could sell the 2-acre piece he and Robyn on and the 5 acres. There's a few things that I will fight for, and this is one of them.
I'm not trying to rip you off, Mary. That's all imagined in Janelle's head because Janelle feels like, oh, I got divorced, so I deserve something.
And when that storm did eventually burst, it shook the Brown family, but it blew apart everything we thought we knew about Kody and Robyn Brown. The hubbub reached its height at the courthouse, and this was no quiet, behind-the-scenes legal affair. The atmosphere was charged.
How does a guy have 4 wives? And there not be jealousy? Well, we now know there's at least 1 wife.
We've always said there was. I've admitted it even
We've always said that there was jealousy and that we always deal with
almost
it.
Movie-like. Outside, journalists huddled behind metal barricades, their cameras fixed on the courthouse doors, like predators in wait. Inside, the sound of muted whispers reverberated off the chilled marble walls, each one spreading rumors that had been building for weeks. Wooden pews were packed to the brim, reporters, lawyers, curious bystanders, all there to see the unraveling of a reality TV empire. And the gossip? This time, it wasn't gossip anymore. This wasn't a divorce filing. This wasn't another TLC plot twist. No, this was something much more incendiary. Something based on raw money, betrayal, deceit, and yes, even custody fights. And the country was watching. Just past 9 a.m., a black SUV pulled up. The door crept open slowly, as if with foreboding, and out emerged Kody Brown. But not the casual, jeans-clad Kody fans had grown accustomed to. He wore a crisp, dark gray suit, his jaw clenched stiff, his eyes cold, no hint of smile. This was a defensive man. And then Robyn, navy suit, stone face, no hand-holding, no loving glance. Just an overwhelming tension between them, palpable enough to cut through. The media yelled their questions. Did you stash cash from the other wives? Robyn, are you being charged with a crime? Will your kids testify? But not a word was given by either Kody or Robyn. And yet, their silence was oppressively loud. So, what ignited this firestorm of law? It didn't erupt. It began softly. A hint here, a mysterious post there. Christine, then Janelle, and even Mary started making veiled hints on the internet. Subtle, but biting. The most weighty of their words came from Christine. Sometimes the truth hurts more when it comes from the ones you trusted most. Behind closed doors, veteran Brown family members, and even insiders started raising red flags. The rumors became accusations. Robyn and Kody had supposedly pumped huge sums of family finances into secret accounts, calling it budgeting or emergency funds. But here's the twist. Only the two of them could access them. And the timing? That was what had people dropping jaws. These alleged suspicious transfers allegedly started not long after Christine said goodbye to the family, sparking rumors that Kody and Robyn had been quietly accumulating cash before other wives joined her in leaving. Christine and Janelle's attorneys did not dawdle. They called for a complete forensic audit on all joint accounts. None of them left behind, no bureaucratic red tape. They asserted this was not a case of mistaken identity. This was years of monetary tampering being uncovered. When the state police sniffed out potential civil fraud, the machinery went into overdrive. In order to get the scope, you must rewind. During the initial seasons of Sister Wives, the Browns presented themselves as a single, cohesive, albeit flawed, family. Every paycheck, every TLC deal, every book arrangement, even side hustle income, all of it went into one unified pool. That pool paid for groceries, medical expenses, family vacations, children's schooling, you name it. But in 2014, it all changed. That's the year Kody lawfully married Robyn. lawfully making her the sole wife with legal weight. TLC ported it as a mere legal move, but not behind closed doors. It granted Robyn incredible authority, control of some assets, access to confidential files, and power over issues the other wives could only dream of influencing. Court filings made a damning portrait. Between 2016 and 2022, Kody and Robyn allegedly diverted between $1.2 and $2 million into personal trusts, shell corporations, and personal accounts. This wasn't family spending. These dollars allegedly paid for property, luxuries, and private school fees for Robyn's kids. When Christine and Janelle sued back, the money was gone, or at least stashed out of their reach. The courtroom was tiny, but all the seats were taken. The reporters were seated in a reserved row, pencils poised. Kody and Robyn sat up front, surrounded by their lawyer contingent. They perched stiff, frosty, preparing for battle. Their lawyer framed the entire case as nothing but a campaign of vengeance by angry exes who wanted to punish them. But it was only after the prosecution made their first bombshell announcement that they had evidence of a $200,000 wire transfer from the Brown family's account to an account called Robyn Home Purchase. Gasps circulated through the courtroom. And this was just the start. Additional documents emerged: bank statements, signed affidavits, even audio recordings, all presenting a chronology of suspected fraud. One especially incriminating allegation: that Robyn had spent joint credit cards charging up against Christine and Janelle's accounts, and even signed documents using their names without them so much as laying eyes on them. The judge's face clouded over. "If half of what you're telling me is true," he growled, "we aren't dealing with a miscommunication. This could easily amount to civil fraud." And then the video. Unreleased footage from one of the final Sister Wives episodes ever made. Kody's words rang through the room. "I didn't feel like I needed their approval in order to take care of what's important. Robyn and I are acting in the best interest of this family." The camera next cut to Janelle, shaking her head, speaking just above a whisper. He lost interest in this family the minute it wasn't about Robyn anymore. That gut punch of a clip wasn't mere reality TV drama. It was employed in court to establish intent. By afternoon, Twitter was on fire. Exposed Robyn, Nya, Sister Wives fraud, and Asham Kody Brown in court trended on X and TikTok. Fans called for jail time. Ex-TLC celebrities chimed in. YouTube and blog commentary picked apart each shot, every receipt. And maybe the most disturbing question started circulating. Just how much did TLC know? Could the show go on? Would the network give it the axe? The longer this case went on, the larger the cracks in TLC's innocent polygamous family story became. When the judge adjourned and set a date for the next hearing, one thing was certain: this wasn't just a scandal. This was a reckoning. For over a decade, Kody Brown had sold the world a carefully crafted image of devotion, unity, and spiritual love. That image was gone. And Robyn? She wasn't the favorite wife anymore. She was in the middle of what might be the biggest reality TV legal scandal ever. Because in court, there's always a paper trail. And Robyn Brown's was going to get read aloud, line by line, dollar by dollar, before the whole world. When the judge asked for the next witness, everyone looked at her. Robyn Brown, the same lady who came into the Brown family in 2010, demure and shy, concealing her feelings behind guarded smiles. The lady Kody had referred to as his deepest spiritual connection. But this was not the Robyn of the show. This was Robyn in a navy suit, seated at the defense table, charged with doing the one thing that could ruin all they had created. The clerk read out the next item: bank statements listing unreported transfers, asset diversions, questionable transactions, all tied to Robyn. The judge adjusted his glasses, scanning the pages. The room was silent. No coughs, no whispers, just the click of a camera shutter. This was it. Years of rumors were finally spilling out into the light, and the timeline the court produced was damning. It started in 2016, 2 years after Kody left Mary to marry Robyn. That marriage had granted her legal rights to joint accounts, lines of credit, and business ownership, and, on allegations, used access to begin unbundling funds. Gradually, quietly, assets flowed into her name alone, or into shared accounts with Kody only, the one charge that stood out above them all. In 2019, Robyn supposedly purchased a $900,000 house in Flagstaff, all while making the other wives believe the family was broke. Who was on the deed? Only Robyn and Kody's names were listed. Christine, Janelle, and Mary, completely missing. Audits uncovered 2 companies, Brown Family Holdings and Life with Robyn Incorporated, both run by Robyn alone. Combined, they were paid more than $420,000 in TLC payments, described with generic terms such as consulting and family management. The accusations didn't end there. Robyn supposedly charged joint credit cards to buy designer, handbags, bespoke furniture, and private school fees, all of which had no relation to the family's joint expenditures. And then there was the forged signature bombshell. Christine's lawyer produced a document granting Robyn control over certain funds. Christine affirmed she never signed it, and so did a forensic handwriting expert. Perhaps the most troubling of all was that during the height of the pandemic, Robyn somehow managed to secure temporary power of attorney over the couple's estate, something she allegedly told the wives was just convenience for paperwork purposes. But temporary somehow became permanent, without anyone else's knowledge. The court then played a pre-recorded video testimony from Christine. Calm, direct, eyes locked on the camera. You see, early on, I wanted to believe Robyn. I did. I wanted to think that she was doing it for the good of everyone in the family, that she was there to bring us together, not tear us apart. But with time, I saw it fall apart. What appeared to be compassion began to resemble control. What appeared to be unity was merely a wedge, driving Kody away from the rest of the wives. And then Janelle appeared, her placid facade struggling to hide the outrage simmering just below the surface. She began to pull back the curtain, discussing accounts that none of them had even heard about. They were told they were broke, but money was flowing into areas no one was permitted to ask questions about. And Kody? He just acquiesced. No resistance, no openness, just silent obedience. This hadn't been about dollars and cents. This had been about betrayal. It was about the utter collapse of the trust between women who had called each other sister wives. And in court, the Robyn we all thought we knew from TV, the shaking voice, the tears, the soft-spoken peacemaker bit, she wasn't there. Instead, someone, icy, remote, eyes concealed, low voice, only to her lawyers. She refused to meet the judges or the other wives' eyes, blank-faced. Legal pundits labeled it strategic silence. I label it a calculated shield, because sometimes silence speaks louder than tears. Then the bombshell from the prosecution, a forensic accountant with receipts, a meticulous timeline of questionable spending, money flowing in ways that didn't align just a little too conveniently with significant family milestones. July 2019, Christine's daughter requires surgery. The family claims they can't afford it. That same month, $48,000 in money spent on renovating Robyn's house. November 2020, Mary inquires about business profits to support a new web venture. She's informed the account is closed. But only weeks earlier, $75,000 had been deposited from that exact account into Life with Robyn, Inc. Early 2021, Kody urges selling Janelle's RV to generate cash for the family, while he and Robyn spend $60,000 on remodeling their Flagstaff backyard, hot tub, outdoor fireplace, the whole thing. The accountant's conclusion? This wasn't sloppy bookkeeping. This wasn't a budgeting slip. This was intentional, organized, a quiet siphoning of resources to benefit one couple at the expense of everyone else. But the most gut-wrenching part came from the children. They wrote letters to the court. One said, "We never imagined the split was so deep. We believed money was everyone's. I worked 2 jobs because I thought the family couldn't assist with college. Turns out, it was just us who couldn't." And another, said to be from one of Robyn's own older children, "I was told I shouldn't ask questions. I used to think I knew the truth. Now I know I never did." The betrayal hadn't only broken the wives, it had filtered down to the next generation. Some children lived in comfort, others in hardship, thinking they were all making sacrifices together. When did this blow up on social media? TikTok, Twitter, YouTube? It went viral. Comments galore. Robyn built herself a throne while faking to just get by. She wept on TV while pocketing everyone else's cash. And the toughest critique of all, if Kody let her do it, maybe it's precisely what he wanted. Reddit went into overdrive. Past episodes were analyzed frame by frame, fans searching for hints, background information, even slight changes in Robyn's facial expressions that now seemed like clues. Lawyers suggested that without criminal charges, financial restitution could be required. Robyn and Kody could be required to repay hundreds of thousands. They could even be required to sell the house. The lawyers for Christine and Janelle demanded an injunction, freezing Robyn's access to family assets completely. As one lawyer said, if it walks like financial coercion and quacks like financial coercion, it just might be fraud. When court adjourned, Robyn left with her head down, oversized sunglasses hiding her face. Kody followed, his expression unreadable, but shaken. Neither spoke to reporters, neither looked back, but the public wasn't letting go. And in the courtroom, the real storm was just beginning. Because now, Kody himself was on the hot seat. The judge's voice cracked through the tension. "Mr. Brown, you may now respond to the charges." Kody rose, pulling at his tie. His voice began low, strained. "Your Honor, with all due respect, this isn't fraud. This is bitterness, hurt feelings, revenge." The room gasped. The judge bellowed for order, but it was too late. Kody's dam had burst. He stood over her, shouting, "I sacrificed my peace, my privacy, my sanity for this family. I created a life with 4 women and all our children in the public eye. And now I'm being thrown in the gutter for trying to shield what little we had left." This wasn't a calm defense. It was a man unraveling in real time. The judge urged him to compose himself. Kody didn't. His eyes locked on Christine and Janelle. "You walked away. You abandoned this family. And now you want to rewrite history? Make me the bad guy, when all I did was try to hold this together." The room went still. Janelle looked down. Christine's face was stone. Fans had been watching Kody do the patriarch thing for years, keeping chaos at bay, propping up the show, managing wives, kids, and money. But this was something else. No editing, no TLC manipulation, just outright breakdown. His lawyer tried to steady him, but Kody pushed forward, his voice cracking. "Nobody talks about what I endured. The lies printed about me, the pressure, the work I put in to keep the wives in line, keep the money flowing so we all had food on the table. They didn't want plural marriage anymore, and that's fine. But don't call me manipulative for staying loyal. Robyn and I are being crucified for being faithful." When his outburst ended, his attorneys jumped in, trying to reframe it all as miscommunication, not malice. "No written contracts," they argued. In a plural marriage, financial arrangements are verbal, built on trust. Private accounts weren't about secrecy, they were about protecting the family's future. And besides, every move had been cleared with attorneys and tax consultants. The judge drew in, eyes narrowed. "So, Mr. Brown, you confessed to keeping the plaintiffs in the dark, that you and your legal wife made decisions without keeping the others in the loop." Kody's response was softer now, on the verge of defeat. "Your Honor, I did what I felt I needed to do. The family was breaking down. People were leaving behind their responsibilities. And with that, the room knew the war was far from over. And now, This is where the tension that's been simmering for years finally boils over into something that feels almost volcanic. In the upcoming season 20 teaser, Christine doesn't just speak. She delivers a powerful, unshakable confrontation aimed directly at Kody. Her words carry the kind of emotional weight that can only come from years of enduring neglect, feeling unseen, and having her loyalty taken for granted. It's not the voice of someone seeking approval anymore. It's the voice of a woman who has already freed herself from the chains of trying to please a man who could never give her the same love and respect in return. She calls him out, not just for isolated moments, but for an entire history of emotional absence. Every sentence hits like a carefully aimed strike, and you can almost see Kody flinch as the truth lands in front of millions of viewers. His attempts to defend himself feel desperate, scrambling for a narrative that no longer convinces anyone. Every word that comes out of his mouth appears to open up more fissures in his highly crafted persona, revealing the contradictions he spent decades attempting to keep covered with charm and rationalization. And then there is Robyn, perched at the periphery. Her face is revealing. It's not the assured, empathetic look she's been accustomed to conveying. Instead, it's a mix of discomfort, frustration, and maybe even the dawning realization that the story she's worked so hard to control is slipping out of her hands. She's no longer in a position to quietly guide the narrative in her favor because the truth is louder now. Christine's voice and the voices of the other wives who've stepped away are finally cutting through the silence. This is no longer a question about the ideals of plural marriage or even individual grievances between spouses. It's about something more. It's about being held accountable. It's about truth finally forcing its way to the top after years of being hidden behind excuses, manipulation, and selective narrative. The groomed family persona that the Browns toiled so diligently to show the world is disintegrating, not by one scandal, but piece by piece, bit by bit, confrontation by confrontation. And for what we're seeing in these teaser clips is any indication, season 20 isn't going to be just another chapter. It's going to be the season that forces every unspoken tension into the light. This could very well be the point of no return, the season where the facade completely shatters. And the real story, the one fans have been sensing for years, finally takes center stage. One of the judge's most scathing remarks from this case went viral almost instantly. This court does not recognize emotional distress as an excuse to avoid financial accountability. Those words were a direct blow to Robyn's defense. Her claim that she was simply too emotionally overwhelmed to file the financial disclosures required by law. The court didn't see that as grief or vulnerability. They saw it as manipulation, plain and simple. And with that, the dam finally broke. Christine, Janelle, and Mary, women who had for years practiced extreme restraint in public, no longer felt bound by that silence. This court battle had stripped away the last layer of politeness. Christine, in her signature quiet strength, posted a calm yet piercing Instagram video. She said, "Finally, the truth is out." And perhaps now, this will empower other women who are living through the same kind of control and silence. We thought our quiet was protecting the family, but sometimes silence only protects the wrong people. Janelle had no interest in holding herself back. In a live stream to fans, her words hit like a sledgehammer. He bet our future for Robyn's comfort. And now the court gets to see it too. Even Mary, the one who had clung hardest to neutrality, couldn't resist taking a swing. Her cryptic tweet went viral in minutes. "Some people will betray you and then act like you hurt them." Fans immediately connected the dots, believing it was aimed squarely at Kody. In that moment, the sister wives, who had been divided for years by favoritism, jealousy, and deep emotional neglect, were united again. Not because of faith, not because of plural, a marriage, but because survival demanded it. And all the while, this harmony played out in the courtroom and on social media. Meanwhile, in the background, pandemonium erupted at TLC headquarters. The network was hard into damage control mode. Eyes. The courtroom drama had propelled Sister Wives to record breaking ratings, but it also provoked a raging backlash. Fans were demanding answers as to why TLC had let this dysfunction play out on television for more than a decade without stepping in. Insiders reveal that executives had already been considering drastic changes to the show, possibly a retry from scratch or an entire spin-off series, following Christine and Janelle from the aftermath of polygamy based upon healing, self-discovery, and reclaiming their independence. But the most shocking rumor? TLC was reportedly considering cutting ties with Kody and Robyn altogether after this season. Advertisers were pressuring the network, saying, "We can't be seen condoning or promoting financial abuse." And now that a court had validated what fans had suspected for years, the game had officially changed. While the judge's ruling was technically about marital asset division and old debts, legal observers noticed something far more damning in the fine print: hints at illicit transfers, suspicious tax filings, and the fact that Robyn's name was on multiple property deeds that had not been properly disclosed. That revelation sparked a wildfire online. Fans began calling for a full criminal investigation, some even starting a petition for the IRS to audit the Brown family, particularly Kody and Robyn. No criminal charges have been filed yet, but legal pundits on YouTube and other platforms pointed out that the judge's words could easily be used as ammunition for state tax authorities. If investigators found proof of intent to defraud, felony charges could be on the table. And perhaps the cruelest twist of all is what Robyn's life looks like now. For years, she lived in the dream home, the crown jewel of the Brown family's possessions. But now, that mansion feels less like a palace and more like a gilded cage. Paparazzi captured her leaving the courthouse, eyes red and swollen from crying. Sources close to the family say she's withdrawn completely, not working, not going out, barely seen in public. She thought she could control the narrative, said one family friend in a tabloid. But it's totally gotten away from her. Even the kids, who were once protected from the worst of the family's dysfunction, are now reading the papers. And as of Janelle's testimony, they're bearing emotional scars they can't even define yet. The fallout is still unfolding, but one thing is undeniable. The perfect image Kody and Robyn fought to project is gone. The neatly packaged confessionals that painted Christine as disloyal or Janelle as too difficult. All of that is shattered. The court has put the truth on record for the world to see. Kody's response was a short statement via his lawyer. "This has been an agonizing process. I ask for privacy as my family and I transition through these changes." But fans weren't buying it. There was no apology, no acceptance of responsibility, no mention of the damning allegations revealed in court. What began as a reality series promising love times 3 has become something far darker, a cautionary tale about control, manipulation, and the inevitable collapse that follows when lies collide with the truth in a courtroom. Christine, Janelle, and Mary may have walked away from Kody, but now, with the court's support, they move forward with justice on their side. As for Kody and Robyn, their chapter isn't closed yet, but the cracks are wide open, and the whole world is watching.